Virgin Radio 104.4, the UAE's number one hit music station. How you doing? My name's Eddie. Now, on the show tonight, I have a very special guest. He's a true pioneer of the Afrobeats movement. Now, long before Afrobeats was filling stadiums, dominating streaming charts, and becoming one of the most influential sounds in music, he was proudly carrying the African culture onto the world's biggest stages. He's built a career that goes far beyond music, becoming an ambassador to African creativity, identity, and culture. He's a multi-award-winning artist, including a Grammy Award. He's collaborated with some of the biggest names in the industry. He's earned millions of fans across the globe and helped shape the sound that has inspired an entire generation of artists. I'm honored to welcome a trailblazer, a hitmaker, a cultural icon, and one of the most influential voices in Afrobeats, the one and only Fuse ODG.
It is. And that was an incredible introduction, my brother.
I had to give you your flowers, man.
And I appreciate that, man. And also, I got to give you your flowers as well. You've been representing from early, like from when we first met almost 10 years ago.
Yes,
you know
sir.
What I mean? And seeing Afrobeats on this platform with its own show. Do you know what I mean? Because I've been coming to Dubai from way back. And, I'd come on and, be one of the probably only Afrobeats artists to represent Africa.
So true.
And educating, the people of UAE or, the listeners. And now seeing Afrobeats have its own show. So congratulations to you too, man. Let's keep pushing, man. Let's
yes,
get
sir.
it.
You know how it is. Thank you so much. So for anyone who's discovering you for the first time, which will be like very weird or absurd, let's take them back to the beginning.
All right.
Before the sold-out shows, before the chart-topping success, who is Fuse ODG and where did he start his career?
So I grew up in London. I was born in London, but I grew up in Ghana and London.
Okay.
Right. So I did primary school in Ghana, and then I schooled from secondary school in London up to now.
Okay.
Right. I currently live in Ghana because I decided to move back home. Probably like 10 years ago or something like that. So now I live in Ghana. I go back and forth. And now, I'm on a mission to, tell the African story from an African perspective through the music.
Okay.
Because I feel like music is one of the most powerful weapons for us to be able to tell our stories. But I've always, been a proud African. And my mission was always inspired by how I grew up African in the UK. Growing up African, it wasn't such a cool thing back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? People weren't really proud to be African because of how we were perceived, by the general public, by, how the Western media would portray us. It wasn't so positive. So for me, as part of my mission, I wanted us to take back our narrative and kind of tell this African story that makes the African child proud of who they are. And we did that through the music. We did that through conversations that we'd have. And now we have a whole, Afrobeats movement that's spearheaded, taking back control of the African narrative. So now when people hear Africa, they're thinking Afrobeats. They're thinking positive things now. Whereas in the past, they'll just be thinking, starving kids with flies around their mouth.
So true.
Do you know what I mean? So we've come a long way, in terms of being able to tell our stories, in a positive way. Mm-hmm. And we're still pushing and we're still, taking back, control of our narrative. But growing up in the UK, African is what inspired my mission. But music has always been something I've been passionate about. Mm-hmm. I've always loved making music. And I always feel like whatever you're passionate about in life, it's always good to link it with a purpose. And my purpose is helping Africans, feel proud of who they are and changing how the world sees Africa.
Yeah.
And using my music to do that. You know?
Now, at what point did music just stop being something that you just loved and you thought, you know what, this is something generally I believe in and it can be a career?
I've always just seen myself as an artist, to be honest. I've always made music from when I was a child, but obviously Azonto, when I did Azonto, it was from my trip to Ghana, and it's that trip that really changed my life because I saw a whole different Africa from what I was being shown, in the UK. Even though I even grew up in Ghana as a child, I still disassociated myself from, being African because of the kind of images that they were showing, to the point that I started to believe it. So when I went back and saw the truth of, how much talent was in Ghana, how much richness and resources and, you know, beautiful women, like just talented entrepreneurial people.
Yeah.
You know, I was just seeing so many things that I hadn't seen as an older person. And yeah, I just fell in love with the culture. I fell in love with people doing the Zonto dance. And I just decided to make a song about it. And it just blew up and went crazy. And I think at the time I just finished uni because I actually got a degree in business management.
You're smart.
Yeah,
smart.
I'm a very smart person. You can't start a whole movement without being smart. You know what I mean? So I was always business minded. I was always entrepreneurial. So for me, when the music blew up, you know, we just had to package it in a way where, okay, cool, we need to use this as a way to tell the story of the Africa that we've experienced, and we have to do that through a movement. And that's where This Is New Africa came from, because we felt like we saw a new Africa. Mm-hmm. You know, this is not the Africa that the media's been showing us.
Yeah.
And that's how This Is New Africa, Tina, was born. And that was the title of my first album. So yeah, it's just been an incredible journey of you know, finding myself, finding my purpose, using my passion, and just knowing that, yeah, I could do this for life, because it just gives me, it's just so fulfilling knowing that, you know, what we're doing is life changing, and, you know, it's going to make an impact in its legacy, you know.
Yeah. So at that point when you said you went to Ghana, and when you came back, you did Azonto. Had you started already doing music? Or?
Oh yeah. I had so many other songs that was on YouTube, like, you know, I was hustling in London doing underground shows. I did a lot of showcases, like a lot. So I was known in the underground scene. But what I was making was more hip hop / grime with the African twang.
Okay.
Do you get it? So there still wasn't like you still couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because I was still African.
Yeah.
I was still African making hip hop and doing grime. But it wasn't until I went back to Ghana that I started doing African music. You know what I mean? Afro beats. Because I'm like, you know what? I'm seeing this music move the people here.
Yeah.
And this is what I want to do. Because in London, doing shows in London was all good, but it kind of felt like there was a ceiling at the same time. But when I went back to Ghana, I just felt a sense of belonging. I'm like, nah, this is our sound. This is my sound, you know. So why not embrace it? So I kind of saw a whole different world of me tapping back into who I was, because I discovered who I really was when I went back to Ghana, and I just fully embraced it. And that was Afrobeats. And I did Azonto, and that just went crazy. So that's when I knew that, yeah, this is my path.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Now, on that point, let's play Azonto. Tell me about Azonto.
Yeah, Azonto is my first hit, but it's not my first song, as we just said.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one of the first songs that introduced a lot of people to Afrobeats, actually, outside of Africa.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest songs across Africa as well, and one of the biggest movement in Afrobeats. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, this is Fuse ODG, Azonto.
Now, when you first started pushing the African sounds internationally, the music landscape was very different.
Yeah.
Did people understand your vision at the time, or were they just constantly having to? Did you have to like convince them, like, you know what, this is the thing, this is the African music, or did you people just like fall in love with it automatically?
It was very tough in terms of the industry, but it wasn't tough in terms of like the streets, because the streets just took to it. You know, the streets just connect with magic. They just connected to it. But we had to explain to the industry where it was. We had to explain to radio. We had to explain to Radio 1. We had to explain to KISS. We had to explain to all the different stations what they were about to play. They were going to play it, but they just didn't know what it was. Do you get it? And they were kind of confused about what genre to put it in. And we had to explain that this is Afrobeats. So there was a whole lot of education that actually had to go behind the music, because initially they thought it was dancehall. Understand? So they're hearing antenna and they think it's dancehall.
Okay.
Because they didn't know what Afrobeats was. Do you know what I mean? So there was a lot of scripts that we had to do to kind of explain the origins of Afrobeats and the new sound that's happening, that's taking over Africa and the diaspora. So we had to do a whole lot of education for, you know, the main radio stations to understand. The pirate stations knew what was happening across the, you know, in the streets. Do you know what I mean? But in terms of the main stations, we did have to feed them with the information so they can, understand what they were about to play, because we didn't want them to just play it and say the wrong thing and, end up, saying it's dance hall and then cause a whole situation. So we had to make sure that Africa was being represented properly. So with presenting the songs to the main stations, it had to come with education.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the fans literally picked it up and were ran with it,
because it's just magic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When people, even when you don't know what you're hearing, it just it made you want to move. It made you want to dance. I get a lot of messages saying, "Oh, my first time hearing Afrobeats was through you." And at the time I didn't even know what it was. Now it's everywhere. Do you know what I mean? And I get it now. Yeah. So, but it definitely came with a lot of education, and we had to break a lot of barriers. Because with ignorance also comes barrier. With ignorance comes barrier. So we had to really just educate people in order to kind of break down certain barriers to this is the hottest thing in Africa. It's called Afrobeats. It originated, with high life and jazz in Ghana and Nigeria. Do you know what I mean? And this is the future.
Yeah.
We had
and
to
in
let
fact,
them
some of
know.
the other genres actually borrow from Afrobeats very heavily,
1,000%.
hip hop and
1,000%. I think that we all inspire each other. Hip hop definitely inspired Afrobeats, dancehall inspired Afrobeats, but essentially it's all from Africa.
Yeah. 100%, 100%. Now, you've always spoken about changing how Africa is viewed around the world. What are some of the biggest misconceptions about Africa that you still wish people understood?
I think a lot of times it's kind of seen as a one kind of monolithic space. Do you know what I mean? People don't understand that it's 54 countries in Africa and, thousands of languages. Even in one country, there's hundreds of languages, different languages from different tribes.
Yeah.
So there's so many different cultures across the continent, so many different stories and traditions, So I think one of the things that I always emphasize is that, especially, I don't know if you remember when, Ebola, outbreak began, people just don't want to go to Africa. Yeah. But it was happening in one place. Country, yeah. And the whole that's the danger of Africa being seen as, one place. And I think that's one of the misconceptions that we've always tried to, correct and let people understand that is you can actually fit India, China, Europe, all these places in Africa. Yeah. Do you understand? That's how massive the place is. And I don't think people understand how vast the continent is. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's one of the things that we always try to educate people on. In fact, I even got a single called 54 Countries. Yes. Do you know what I mean? On my album, Spirit of New Africa. Should actually play that for the people. It's a fun song. You hear me talking of going into different countries, all in one song.
Yeah, and what I love about that song is that you touched nuances of every single part of each African country. You mentioned Zanzibar and Mishkaki.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
it's beautiful. When you hear that song, it just takes you on a trip across the continent, and you realize how different each country is. You just realize that every single country have their own unique, traditions, unique food, the dance, and it's that song for me, it was even it was an eye opener for me as well, because of course I've been to a lot of countries in Africa, but I also had to educate myself on certain countries that I hadn't been to yet, such as Comoros. Comoros, they have ylang ylang flowers, and these flowers are some of the best smelling flowers used for fragrances across the world. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You have places like Equatorial Guinea that do some of the best chocolates, so it's I got to learn. But I've been to Equatorial Guinea before, by the way, but I got to learn more about the different countries. And you guys enjoy.
Yeah. There you go. We don't just live in huts in Africa.
No. We live in huts in the UK though. Have you seen the houses in the UK though?
No,
come on,
I've never been. All right,
it's so small, it's so every time I come back from Ghana, I go to London, I'm oh my gosh, the houses here, what is going on? These are the real huts,
Coming to the mansions in Africa.
Yo, you understand? I come from the mansion into a hut, what's going on here? This is nah.
Now you mentioned the new album. Let's talk about it. Spirit of New Africa 2.
Yes, sir.
Now you've had different chapters in your career, different sounds and different experiences that have shaped you as an artist. Now, when listeners press play on this album, The Spirit of New Africa 2, what version of you are they getting?
You're going to get a version of me that now, understand that you're now paying attention to Africa. But now I'm giving a mic to Africa to speak to you, which means Africa's going to tell you that I'm not just one person. I'm made up of 54 people with so many different personalities. Because before, what I was saying to people, this is new Africa, in order for people to pay attention to Africa. And now that you're paying attention, hi, my name is Africa and I am Benin. I'm Ghana. I'm Togo. I'm Cameroon. You understand? So this time you actually get to learn about the different cultures across the continent through this new album. And that's literally where we're at as a people. I feel like we've done such a great job in creating awareness of that Africa is not a place of poverty. It's a place of opportunities. It's a place that you should come and visit and invest rather than donate. Now that you understand that, we need to make sure that the Africans that you meet, they understand who they are. They understand how powerful they are. They know their history. Because we have to know our history in order to educate other people about our history. So that's what this album is about. It's really about replenishing our spirit, because I feel like on the surface we're looking good, but we now need to tap inside to make sure that we actually feel good about ourselves. We actually know who we are inside, and that's what this chapter is about. That's what this album's about.
And so is the album meant for the Africans, or is it meant for the international audience who want to know more or learn more about Africa?
It's for the African, and it's also for anybody who wants to learn about our culture, because now you love our music, you love who we are, as a culture. Now it's time for you to learn. If you love me so much, find out about, get to know me. That's what this chapter's about.
Now, if there's one track on the album that perfectly represents your life right now, which one of the songs would it be?
That's a really good question, It's called Dear Me. Actually, it's the first track. And I'm writing a letter to myself. So I think that kind of talks about the journey, because I always like to, in the intro of my albums, I always like to kind of set the tone for what you're about to listen to. So Dear Me is a good one, because you get to, I talk about how I grew up and how we now need to, how we need to move as a people, as Africans, now that the world is paying attention to us.
So it's a letter to yourself. At what part in your life?
Now.
A letter to yourself right now.
It's a letter now about, how we've survived and now we need to thrive. I want to play a game with you. All right.
It's called Fuse's Passport.
Raw.
So since you've been to numerous African countries, you've got 60 seconds on the clock.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna name
the pressure.
A country, and the name of a country in Africa. You tell me the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the name of the country. Okay.
Good.
All right.
It's a lot of pressure, You got the Afrobeats pioneer here. You're doing the African quiz.
Oh, we got it.
Where's my chat GPT, man?
All right. We'll try to keep it easy. All right. Here we go. 60 seconds on the clock. Here we go. Ghana.
Fufu Kente. Fufu and Kente.
Both. All right. Egypt.
Pyramids.
Tanzania.
Zanzibar and Mishkaki.
Cameroon.
Yaoundé and, fabrics.
Nigeria.
Dance, Afrobeats, Fela Kuti.
Oh, wow. Okay. Kenya.
Pap.
Ugali.
Nairobi. Ugali. That's it. Ugali in Kenya. Ugali.
Angola.
Kizomba.
South Africa.
South Africa, Nelson Mandela and Winnie.
Morocco.
Marrakesh and the market.
DRC.
Natural resources and natural resources.
Zimbabwe.
Sadza.
And finally Somalia.
Flag. I don't know what for flag and art.
Fair enough. Obviously, I don't want to put you on the spot, but of all those countries, because you've probably been to all 54 countries,
Mm-hmm.
Which one is left a really an impression on you?
Oh,
You can't say Ghana.
I haven't done all 54 yet, but
Okay.
I'm almost there.
Almost there. Okay. You can't say Ghana because you'll be biased.
I can't say Ghana.
You'll be biased because that's your hometown.
Hold on. I really like Tanzania because
Okay.
I feel like when I went to Tanzania, it was a crazy show. We had a crazy show. Yeah, I love their food. I love the people of Tanzania. The energy was crazy. I also really loved Equatorial Guinea.
Okay.
Actually, even though there wasn't much to do at the time that we went, but it was so beautiful. Do you know what I mean? And the people were so kind. But yeah, I would say Tanzania and Equatorial Guinea.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, if you have a chance to go to Africa, dude, you need to.
You need to. Especially Zanzibar and Tanzania, though.
Yeah,
it's a
go eat some of those
place.
mishkakis.
Yo, the mishkaki is serious, man. I remember the time that I went as well. It was Ramadan.
Okay.
And I was doing Ramadan as well because I love that tradition.
Yeah.
You know, of actually cleansing yourself and replenishing. And when it was time to break fast, it was like the whole community was just come together, and you just see mishkakis everywhere. Like, man, it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah. So for everyone who doesn't know what mishkaki is, it's skewers.
Yes.
Meat on skewers.
Yes, it is actually. But mishkaki sounds better. It sounds sexy.
Oh yeah.
Mishkaki.
Yeah. That's what's up. Getting me hungry already.
Come on, now.
People know Fuse ODG, the performer.
Yeah.
What would surprise fans most about Fuse ODG when the cameras are off and the mics are not there?
You know what? I like just being still. I know it sounds boring, but I just like being still with a good view.
Okay.
You know, like, and just being present, you know, because I'm always on the go. So it's always nice to be by myself and just be still, actually. Like, I'm literally like, I just like being still. I know it sounds boring, but it just...
So you literally just shut off and like, that's it?
With a good view
Okay.
as well, you know what I mean? With a good view, like, yeah, and I'm just like grateful and just, being still.
All right. So since you're from Ghana, a good view, give me a location that, you know what, if I am coming to Ghana for the first time, I want a good view that Fuse enjoys. Where am I going to?
It's a place called Aqua Safari. You're
Okay.
you're gonna love it. It's got good views, just nature. Do you know what I mean? And there's a lot of different activities to do as well. So Aqua Safari is a good shout in Ghana.
Aqua Safari. All right, what's up? All right. Picture this. You're the host of a dinner party. And you're inviting 4 guests.
Yeah.
Okay? 1 musician, 1 athlete, 1 historical figure, and 1 fictional character. Who's sitting on that table?
1 musician.
1 musician.
Damn, this is tough. 1 musician.
Dead or alive, doesn't matter.
Yeah. I would love Bob Marley.
Okay.
And there was the second one, athlete.
Yeah.
Athlete. Muhammad Ali.
Okay.
And there was the third one,
Historical figure.
Historical figure. I'd love Kwame Nkrumah
Of course.
from Ghana. You know,
Yeah.
one that actually helped us gain our independence and set the vision for, you know, Africa being united as one. And then the fourth one was
Fictional character.
Anansi.
Anansi the spider.
Anansi the spider.
Why Anansi the spider?
Because he's just a wise creature, and he was able to take over like his whole community by just outsmarting everyone. And he has funny stories. You know what I mean? So Anansi the spider, check him out. Anansi the spider's folklore character. Created in Ghana, but it actually goes across the diaspora and the Caribbean. So in the Caribbean, they also know of Anansi, even though some people don't know that the character originated from Ghana.
Yeah.
There's a whole, Anansi character, Anansi folklore stories across the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And again, it's because of how smart he is that he's global.
Now, speaking of Caribbean, I saw you posted something on Instagram. Congo.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, was that your okay, so
Literally.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I was like, so you posted a picture, one of I think it's a city or a town.
Yeah, it's a town. Almost a village. It's a village in Bahamas.
In Bahamas. It's called Congo. And then there's the actual Congo in Africa.
Yeah, in Central Africa.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so it's a small village that was inspired by the enslaved Africans who freed themselves, right? And that's just the DNA of where they're from. It just stayed with them, and they created their own town called Congo, and that was inspired by the original Congo in Central Africa, but more like the Empire Congo that starts with a K. That's the original name for Congo. That one that started with a K. That one that wasn't split up yet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that just shows a lot about how how similar Africa and the Caribbean are, and how you can never erase the DNA of a people, even if you try to erase their identity. A small part of them will always show up. And in the Bahamas, there's a Congo in the Bahamas, and of course in Central Africa there's Congo.
that just like it blew my mind. Literally blew my mind.
It's a lot. There's a lot of information that'll blow your mind. There's a lot more that we're gonna be posting for people to understand. Like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. And that's the whole point of where we're at. The world is paying attention to Africa. So now Africa has to speak. And Africa will tell you that I have so many different stories to share, and that's what's happening now.
On that story, because I saw you posted this a while back, when you were educating people about the actual name of Victoria Falls.
Oh yes.
That like literally like touched me. I was like, wow, you know what? Like I didn't know that was the name.
Oh, really?
I just grew up knowing it's Victoria Falls.
Wow.
But the actual name,
Mosetunia. So Victoria Falls, if you don't know, is like one of the most beautiful natural wonders, like across the world. Like it's just mind-blowing. It's astonishing. When you're just looking at it, it's like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like you're just looking at God. And it was a place that already existed. The falls already existed. But when David Livingstone, who came to, at the time, Zambia and Zimbabwe was, it wasn't separated like that. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And he just decided that, oh my gosh, I've just discovered this amazing waterfall. I'm going to name it after my queen, Victoria Falls. You can imagine someone's come from the UK to, a country in Africa and decided to name a natural waterfall, after his queen back in his home country. You can't blame him for doing that. He's just a proud British.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But obviously it's wrong on all levels, because you've come into someone else's town and you've seen a waterfall and renamed it, after your queen. And for me, where we're at, it's like we need to revert the names back to who we are, because that waterfall, the original name was Mosetunia, and is the direct translation is the smoke that always thunders, because it's always like when you see it, like it's always moving. It's just you could just feel it every time. It's always smoking. Do you know what I mean? And for me, that the falls, the Mosetunia Falls, is like the soul of the people. But if it's called something else, then that's the soul of the people lost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's the pride of the people lost. But right now, where we're at is where it's time to restore what the name is, and that's one of the campaigns that I'm on now, to restore that name from Victoria Falls back to the original name, which is Mosetunia, to restore the soul of the people, because there's nothing worse than not feeling represented in your own town, which is what's happening right now across Zimbabwe and Zambia.
So true.
So for me, again, it's like the world is paying attention to Africa, and now we put the mic to Africa, and Africa is saying, my name is Mosetunia, not Victoria Falls. Do you know what I mean? My name is, this, not that. It's really time for us to restore our identity, and that's where we're at.
And are you doing this? Is this movement on an official level, or is this like more of on an educational level? I like the African governments, like what, receptive to your idea, like what, we should actually do that.
So it's both, right? Because you can't always rely on the government to do the right thing.
Yeah.
But you'd like to think that they would. So far so good. The tourism board loved the idea, and this is not a new idea. It's an idea that came from the local people. This is just from me visiting Zambia and Zimbabwe and just speaking to the local people and them educating me that the original name was Mosetunia, because I never knew. Same way that you didn't know. So it's just us just amplifying the voices of the local people, and it is resonating with the tourism board, and they do want to take action. But there's a worry that if they changed it, they would lose tourism revenue because everyone already know it as Victoria Falls, which is understandable. But you also need to understand the power that you have, as an African, like in your story, believe in your story and other people will believe in it. The same way David Livingstone believed in himself and his queen, that he made everyone else believe it. We have a more powerful story. That waterfall has a powerful story behind it. And when I tell you the stories that are behind that waterfall, like, you'll be mind blown. Like, I'm talking like it's so spiritual that people actually like go to it and pray to the falls. Wow. Like it's a god. Yeah. Because it's actually, in fact, there's it's a spirit in the waterfall called the Nyame Nyame. And funnily enough, Nyame Nyame in Ghana means God.
Oh, wow.
Do you understand? So there's so many linkages.
Different parts of the world, of the continent.
Exactly. Like, Zimbabwe being south and Ghana being west. We call our God Nyame, and there's a spirit in that force called the Nyame Nyame. And this is something that we haven't even tapped into. It's a conversation we haven't even tapped into yet, because there's new information that I went to discover. And now I'm trying to understand, is it linked? Is it not linked? So there's so many of our history that's hidden that we need to find out more. So for me, that the falls is very spiritual and is very important that it reverts back to its original name in order to empower the people.
Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a deep story.
Yeah. Fuse, I want to put you to blind ranking challenge. Okay.
I'm already blind. Let's go.
All right, so I'm going to play you 5 of your songs.
Yeah.
Now you have to rank them from rank number 1 to number 5.
Okay, that's gonna be tough. I'm not gonna lie.
I know it's gonna be tough because they're all your babies. You love all of them. Yeah. But we just want to see you like where you're vibing with it right now, where you're placing it on that scale. All right. All right. Here we go. Song number 1.
What you do, man? Now watch me do my
Azonto.
So I have to say a number between 1 and 5.
Yeah, where are you placing it on the scale? Is it number 1?
I don't know what other songs you're gonna play.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Let me put that as number 2 because I don't know the others.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How about this song?
I came with the spirit of Sundiata. I can never be afraid.
Sundiata. Yeah, this one's spiritual to me, man. This is what I'm saying. It's tough because certain songs are in my heart. Do you know what I mean? They're in my heart. I'll put this at number 3, actually.
Number 3?
Yeah, because again, it was like the genesis of a new movement. Do you know what I mean? Not that I wasn't making songs like this, but it was the right time for people to now understand the spirit of New Africa from This Is New Africa.
Wow.
Did you get it? Yeah.
Okay, hence it was spiritual to you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that is number 3. Sundiata is at number 3. How about this song?
All right, Dangerous Love.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous song. I'll put that it's tough because I don't know what other songs you're gonna play.
Yeah.
So let me put this at I'm gonna put it at 5.
5.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it at 5 because I don't know the other songs you're gonna play. You're gonna try and trip me with some other songs that I really, really like, close to my heart.
What's the song Dangerous Love about?
So Dangerous Love for me was the first time that Africa was really meeting Caribbean officially, on a commercial level. I felt like Sean Paul, of course, legend. He's been representing the Caribbean for so long. One of the main, pioneers, from that side of the world. I felt like me also being one of the main pioneers of Afrobeats on my side, it was the perfect time for us to amalgamate the two genres together, Afrobeats and dancehall. And for me, it was a moment. Do you know what I mean? So that was a very special song. I know you guys are just hearing a banger, but for me, it was like Africa and the Caribbean really coming together to show the world that we're together. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That was at number 5. How about this?
What? Why did you do that, bro? Oh my gosh! How many numbers do I have even?
5. So now you have two numbers.
4 and 1.
Yeah,
oh my
4 and 1.
I can't put antenna 4. And I don't know what you're gonna play after this one. I need to make a decision.
Yeah,
Hold on,
it's a tough one.
If I put Antenna 4 and the next one you play, you can't disrespect Antenna. You can't. You know. Now let me put Antenna number 1. I'm
Antenna
sorry,
number 1.
because I don't know what you're gonna play next. Just. If you play the song I think you're gonna play next, I'm gonna be very mad at you. So hold on. Am I putting out 1?
Yeah.
It depends on the song that you're gonna play.
Okay.
Nah, put Antenna 1.
Antenna
and
1.
I hope you don't play the song you're gonna play, because I'm gonna have to retract.
So I guess you'll put this at number 4.
Oh yeah, number 4. This one makes sense. Yeah. I did the right thing. Whoa, I did the right thing. Okay, so that means Antenna's number 1.
Yeah.
Azonto was number 2. Sundiata number 3. Tina number 4. Dangerous Love number 5. That's perfect.
Oh, perfect.
That's perfect.
Amazing.
I'm happy with that.
I love it. So Fuse, you've achieved already so much, but when you look at the next chapter of your career, what excites you about your next chapter of your career?
What excites me is being a part of building the next generation. You know, for me, it's like we've done so well as Africans in terms of taking back control of our narrative and changing how the world sees us and how Africans see themselves. So now what are we going to do with this that we've achieved? You know, and I think now is really time for us to give the children the opportunity that we never had. We never had the right type of education. We never had the right type of representation. And that's really what I'm on right now, making sure that our children understand who they are, understand how powerful they are, the powerful people that came before them. For example, did you know that it was an African woman that invented mathematics? A lot of people don't know that. It was a African man who did the first ever surgery.
Yeah.
You know, it was an African man that invented medicine. You know,
First university was in Africa.
I think in Morocco.
Yeah.
And a lot of us didn't know this,
Yeah.
you know, up to now, because we were taught, you know, with the Western curriculum that never taught us about African history. And as a result of that, we didn't love ourselves enough to be proud of who we are and just be ourselves. You know, as a result, we ended up playing other characters in order to be accepted in a system that's not made for us. So what I want is for our children to be able to be themselves and don't have to act like anybody else, because that's what we've had to do.
Be proud of who you are.
That's it. You know, we were ashamed of being African. I don't want my child to be ashamed of who she is, or, you know, or who he is. Do you know what I mean? I want my children to understand that they're powerful and they can be themselves. And that's the same for every other culture. I want every culture to be proud of who they are. So really the next chapter, and what I'm really proud of, you know, embarking on next, is our children understand who they are and how powerful they are. And that's why I'm doing a lot of the things that I'm doing. So for example, right now we have a book out called 54 Countries.
Okay.
It's a children's book, and it talks about all the different countries across the continent. And, you know, your child gets to learn about where they're from, you know, talking about African children. And then we have an educational app called SONA, School of New Africa. And it's about teaching our history and educating us on the powerful people that came before us. And then we're even writing more books. And, you know, there's so many other things that we're also putting in place to just make sure that our children understand who they are, so they can just be themselves. So that's really where we're at right now. And I'm doing that through the music, and I'm doing that through my other initiatives, you know.
Okay. Then if someone wants to get that book, where can they get it?
Go to fuseodg.com.
Okay.
All the information is there. You see all the other things that we're also working on. There's a lot that we're working on. I don't even know if I've missed out any, but right now let's just focus on the books.
Yeah.
You know, just go and grab the books.
And you do international deliveries for the books?
International deliveries for the books as well.
Awesome.
And we're about to launch this is exclusive as well, for every single country in Africa. We're writing a book on each country, the children's book. So wherever your child is from, your child can get to learn about Kenya.
Oh, it's amazing.
You get to learn about Wangari Maathai.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The different
history.
dishes. Yeah, exactly. The ugalis, and, you know, just for them to feel represented.
Yeah.
It's something that we never had. We never had the right representation nor the right education.
And make it for them to seem like, you know what, this is actually cool.
Exactly.
You know, knowing about your country, about your background, your culture, and representing it to the world.
And right now, the educational curriculum is not doing that because it doesn't take into account Africa when it comes to writing the syllabus.
Yeah.
So we have to do it ourselves as a people until it changes. And this goes across Africa as well. You'd be surprised. So the African curriculum is actually based on a Western curriculum.
Yeah.
So we're not learning African history even in Africa. So as parents, as people of African descent, it's our responsibility to actually use the tools that we have in order to just raise the next generation who can be proud of who they are.
It's amazing.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Big
Literally. Fuse, I'm very honored. I want to say a big thank you to you for coming
thank
through.
you for having me, Eddie, man.
Like we
Appreciate
said in
you.
the beginning, we met probably, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy. And we've come a long way. And this is probably the most educational show I've ever done in Dubai.
You're going to teach them.
Yeah, I understand. And we worked our way to get here where, you guys are now listening and learning about our culture. So we appreciate you for also listening to Afro beats and also, standing with Africa. It's really now time for Africa to tell its story.
The man himself. You heard it from him. Mr. Fuse ODG. Follow him on all social media platforms. Fuse ODG.
Everywhere.
Bro, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Eddie, man. It's an honor to be here today, man, to have this conversation with you. It's been fun.
Bless.
Virgin Radio.